G alluded to it a second ago, but The Ringer puts out a top 100 players in the NBA. To start the season, they update it at the All-Star break, and then they do another ranking at the very end of the season. And the Cavs, after the acquisition of DeAndre Hunter, now have 5 players in The Ringer's top 100. Donovan Mitchell checks in at the midseason update at number 12. Evan Mobley at 22. Garland at 33. Jarrett Allen at 49, giving the Cavs 4 players in the top 50, and DeAndre Hunter at 91. And if you take the next graphic, we can see the preseason rankings. So that's where they are currently. In the preseason, Mitchell was at 16. He's at 12 now. Mobley jumped 24 spots up to number 22. Garland also jumping 20 spots into the 30s. Jarrett Allen bumped up 6 spots to 49. DeAndre Hunter was not ranked. Now he is. And go back up to the initial one just so we can see their current rankings one last time. 12, 22, 33, 41, 49, and 91 for the Cavs, giving them 5 players in the top 100. Only 2 teams have more than 5. Boston and OKC both had 6. A few teams had 5, but Jason, Dustin, G, I'll start with you. Do you have an issue with any of those particular rankings number-wise, and which one surprises you the most in either a good way or a bad way?
No, I don't got no problem with these numbers.
No.
What you mean? Like this is what I was supposed to be getting with the Browns. This is exactly what we need to see. The fact that you got DeAndre Hunter sneaking onto the list means that they think he's going to be an added bonus for the Cavs moving forward. He wasn't ranked. He averages 19. And by the way, I must say, my man is not shy. I saw him. I was watching the game with my dad. I said, "Oh, you don't have to worry about no pleasantries. He's coming in firing. He's shooting. He's jacking these shots up." I said, "Oh, I like this." The most impressive leap are the 2 big leaps. The Darius Garland went from, where was he at, 58th or something?
58 to 33.
That's a big leap.
That's a huge jump. Like, that's a big time, especially where his stock was. Remember, we was at the end of last year talking about, hey, we can't find nobody to take Darius Garland's deal. We can't even find nobody to take his contract after the way he played against the Celtics. And then the biggest leap is this, Evan Mobley, because when you start naming 10 players, right, when you start naming top 100 and top lists, everybody like to say people is in the top 10 until you start to name them out and list them out. If you think about 22, that's wild. I could give you SGA, Luka, LeBron, KD. That's 4 right there. Listen, they're all, Tatum, Brown. There's a bunch of guys you can name off the top of your head just to get to 10. 22 is very impressive, especially given the fact that, where he started from and the way he's playing. I think that's the bigger surprise to me, is that he's cracking the top 20, and with this trajectory, Dustin, I wouldn't think that he was going to continue to go on, and by next year could be a top 15 player.
No, I think it's a great point. I mean, he really has. People thought that he couldn't fit here with Donovan Mitchell, and obviously we make a coaching change, and we're proven wrong. Like the people, I was one of those people, by the way, raise your hand if you were, that thought they could not play together. You had to trade one of them. You had to do something to try and kind of shake things up, and that has not been the case. They've been so good. They've gelled together. I think the way that Mobley has evolved his game and really, really turned it into everything into a strength, especially his perimeter game. That's helped everybody. And then, like, you add DeAndre Hunter. By the way, Mikey, when did Hunter get into the top 100? Like, is it because of this trade, or is it because of how he performed this year with Atlanta?
I'm assuming it's Atlanta because this was updated. I don't think the 2 games would bump him if they didn't have him ranked before. I think it's more the seasonal work. But they do one preseason. They do one right before the All-Star.
So the reason I say that is he wasn't ranked preseason, so he's had a good year. And so he's in the top 100. Now he's on a better team. Like, dude, what was he, 92, Mikey?
91.
91. All of a sudden, you put him on the Cavaliers, he might be a top 75 player.
Yeah, because he's you think about it, he's never going to be the focal point of anybody's defensive rotations. They're like, hey, we got to stop Garland, we got to stop Donovan Mitchell. Evan Mobley is a threat. Now he's going to be he's a 4th option, but look who he's going to be getting shots against.
I think he's a better version of like Karis LeVert, who also is a guy that could give you 30 on any given night.
I think that's a great point. Like, he's a longer, more physical version of Karis LeVert. I don't know about his, McNuggets, you could tell us how he is off the ball in the first few games. I was more impressed with his on-the-ball defense. I think he's kind of quick to be that tall and big. But I don't know what his defensive rotations look like so far, but I think that he's an upgrade from Karis LeVert. And Karis LeVert was having a decent defensive season, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Hunter has all the physical tools to be a lockdown, legitimate defender against not just bigger wings, but smaller wings. He's got the size, the quickness, the lateral ability to stay in front of just about anyone on the court. And when he's locked in, he can be a guy that you can count on to get stops one-on-one. Jason, what did you make of the rankings? And I texted you guys last night that I'm not sure any player jumped higher than Mobley, who jumped 24 spots. Well, my math was wrong because Darius Garland jumped 25. So not only was it just the biggest jump on the Cavs, it wasn't even the biggest jump in the thing. It wasn't even the biggest jump on the Cavs. Both those guys jumped 24 and 25 spots.
Well, 5 in the top 100 is great. Obviously, I like 3 in the top 33 because that's basically the top 30. And if you run the numbers, averages say every team should have 1 in the top 30. Well, the Cavs have 3. And I was just quickly scrolling the list. I didn't think of this until just now, so I was just quickly scrolling through the list. The Cavs, I know Boston's 3rd is lower than 33. So the Cavs 3 are higher than Boston's 3 because Derek White, I think, is around 40.
He is 40 on the dot, correct.
I don't know about OKC. I didn't look at them. Shea's obviously.
OKC's 3rd is Holmgren at 35. So
all right, so pretty close.
The best trio. And by the way, SGA is 3. Jalen Williams is 21, so 1 spot ahead of Mobley. And then Holmgren 2 spots behind Darius Garland.
Now, these are just subjective rankings, but that tells you how tight these teams are
So
with their top 3 players.
So you're saying that the Cavs got the best starting 5? Is that
They got the best top 3, according to these rankings at least. Their big 3's bigger than anybody else's big 3. I mean, this is just the Ringer's projections. It's just their rankings. But this is still a star-driven league, and we've talked about the parity within the league, and we've talked about they've got to go about roster building a different way. But the league over the last 30 years has been built on stars, and you've got to have those guys at the top if you're going to win. And the Cavs have those guys.
This is closer than I thought. Like, we were talking about it when they were going through the whole championship window and all this good stuff. And we talked about comparing 2016 to now. If you had to go back and re-rank the 2016 Cavs with their big 3, like I'm sure that somebody has already done that, but how would Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving and LeBron James stack up in that thing? Because LeBron would probably be 1.
LeBron been 1 or 2.
Kyrie Irving would have probably been at the time top 20. And then Kevin Love would have, fallen somewhere, probably in the top 50, right?
Oh, for sure. Kevin probably would have been 35.
I was going to say around 30.
Yeah.
It's close. I laugh all the time when they say who has a better roster between that 2016 and today.
No,
it's still
16.
It's still 16, right? But
like you say, don't get it twisted.
Don't get it twisted. It's still 16. but
the difference is too. Mitchell's their best player at 12.
Yeah.
LeBron was the best player at 1.
He's worth 2 cats in the top 10.
Yeah.
So I get it.
It's a big from 12 to 1 is a big jump in the NBA.
Their big 2 back then in 16 was a problem.
Being in that arena,
it was a problem.
Game 5, right? Yeah, Game 5 at Golden State when Kyrie and LeBron shot the lights out.
Them 40 apiece.
That was a night.
That was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like that is the equivalent of, let me see, Darius Garland and I guess Donovan Mitchell being like, oh no, against OKC. Oh no, we're not going to miss. We're going to hit for 40.
That was wild. I mean, LeBron, to your point, LeBron was that dude. And I remember when they fell down 3-1, I was talking to Kevin in the locker room. I was talking to Kevin Love at his locker. And this is 20 minutes after they lose Game 4 to go down 3-1, and everybody thinks it's over. Mm-hmm. Everybody thinks it's over. And I told Kevin, I'm like, if you can find a way to steal 5, you got to take 5. And this is before Draymond was suspended. But I'm like, if you can find a way to steal 5, you're not losing 6 at home.
Right.
No
and
chance.
That's exactly what he said. No chance. And I said, and LeBron was at his locker at the time, and I said, I'll take my chances with that mother bleeper in a Game 7 over anybody else in the league. But you got to find a way to get 5. You just have to find a way to get 5, and it's a series.
Kyrie, that was the
Remember
time.
Klay Thompson?
Oh.
And LeBron
It's a
goes,
man's league.
He said what?
Yep. Yep.
Bill Livingston.
Yep.
God bless you, man, for the
Yep.
question.
Yep.
Kyrie was a
I'll never
bad
forget the
boy.
question.
Well, you know what's funny about that? So the Warriors are feeling themselves. They're up 3-1. They're feeling themselves. And there's a little bit of a break between when the Warriors leave and when the Cavs come in. And LeBron was sitting up against the wall.
I remember it. He was sitting there,
sunglasses
he was
on.
in his
and
t-shirt.
He's dribbling basketball, listening to his music. And I almost said something to him about what Clay said. I almost did, but I didn't.
Glad you didn't.
I know, right? Because we would have lost that moment.
Yes.
So I didn't say anything to him. He gets up on the podium, and Bill asked him the question. LeBron goes, Clay said, what?
I said, what?
And it's like
it
an
gives me chills
all-time
thinking about
great
it,
moment.
dude.
Jason,
All-time
as
great.
someone who wasn't there and did not follow the ins and outs, will you just fill me and anyone else who's not 100% confident of the exact question that was asked?
So the Warriors were upset that Draymond got suspended.
Yeah,
for
because
5.
he kicked LeBron in the nuts.
Punched him.
Whatever,
Punched him. And they felt like the Cavs were baiting Draymond into that, and they didn't agree with the suspension. They didn't like the suspension. And Clay had said the NBA is a man's league, basically calling LeBron
baby.
Yeah. And Mo Spates, who played in Cleveland briefly.
Right.
Maurice Spates tweeted out a baby bottle on his Twitter account. Like, everyone was like making fun of LeBron. And I remember thinking, like, what are you guys doing? Why would you throw raw meat in the Tigers' cage? And so Bill Livingston asked, a retired Cleveland plain dealer columnist now, asked LeBron at the podium about, Clay said it was a man's league. And
he
LeBron,
asked it in such a perfect way.
Yeah. I mean, Bill's been around forever. And he covered the NBA for a long time in Philly. And LeBron said, like, hold up, wait a minute. Clay said, what? You can find the clip. It's hysterical.
Oh, it's great. And it almost felt like in that moment, and there are highlight videos that have been made with that clip, and it was like a bam, like that's when the switch got flipped.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we all felt it, man.
And LeBron said, it's so hard. It's so hard to take the high road. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to take the high road. And, like, he didn't really respond, but he did. And it was just a great little moment. And I think that's the day he had on the Undertaker T-shirt, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
All the symbolism, man.
Yeah.
You know what? And I was going to ask you guys this. Like,
real quick.
go ahead.
Hold that thought, because we mentioned the Undertaker T-shirt. So then the Undertaker shows up. You remember this?
Yes.
Undertaker showed up opening night of the trophy ceremony, but they didn't like plan this. So they were trying to get time with LeBron, and LeBron wouldn't meet with them. So like they came for nothing. It was Undertaker. It was Ultimate Warrior's wife,
Because he had passed.
and kids. He had passed, and I don't think they ever got time with LeBron because LeBron wasn't going to be used like that. Like that's just how he is. Go ahead.
Anyway.
No, I was going to say, it just seems like back then, like when we were in the throes of that Warriors like conflict and we was going to the finals every year, McNuggets, it almost felt like you lived and died with every game. Even some of the series like the Toronto Raptors series, or the Atlanta Hawks and the Boston Celtics, we lived and died with them. I have not felt that way watching the Cavs because I know there was a ceiling. We're playing at a different level, and hey, we're just trying to figure out where we can get to. This year, I think, will be the first year that a lot of people feel that every single game means a lot.
Because you feel like this team could win a championship.
Yes.
And you never felt that way. You didn't feel that way last year or the year before. But this team has a chance to win a championship. And to your point, I think I mentioned this on the show before. I remember talking to Mike Miller that year, the first year when they all came together. When LeBron came back, he brought James Jones and Mike Miller with him. And I was talking to Mike after a finals game, and Mike said, like, listen, even for us, every time you win an NBA Finals game, you feel like you'll never lose again. You're going to win the championship. And every time you lose, you feel like we're never going to win again. Yeah. The series is over. Even they feel that because it's so intense and the emotions are so high in an NBA Finals. Maybe not in the rounds leading up to it, but he said in those finals games, we feel it too. When you win, you feel like you're never going to lose again. And when you lose, you feel like it's over and you can't win. Yeah,
I think, listen, Dustin, I feel like I could keep imagining, like when you get around to the April and the May and it's spring out and then Easter happens and then you get past the first round. I think people in the city is going to start to be
it's going to be electric, dude. I'm telling you, this year is going to feel so much different in the postseason than it has in the past. post LeBron.
Yeah.
Because this is the team that actually can do it. There's no other players out there standing in the way of the Cavaliers. Like when it was LeBron,
Yep.
And even though we had the best player, there was still the Steph Curry, the Kevin Durant, the Dre. I mean, that team was a super team. We know that, but like they were in front of us, and so it was a challenge. This is like, okay, dude, if we get out of the Eastern Conference, like bro, we could be going to the finals thinking this is not just going to be like showing up.
Yeah,
it's going to be like showing up to get it done.
We might be able to do it. That's why. Hey, listen, this spring. It's gonna be
lit, dude. I'm telling you, you're making me think about just now. You know, the weather starts to turn a little bit.
Yep.
It's April. We just got through March Madness. St. Patty's Day happens.
Spring
is sprung, and we're gonna start getting that buzz. You know, you remember in college, you remember the quad. You start seeing a little more skin.
March Madness.
You start to get the good blood flow, and I'm telling you, the
Days
city
get
is
longer.
going to sunset.
Yeah,
you know,
sun's up, buns out.
Yeah, baby.
Yep. I want to make a point on the updated Ringer Top 100, but I got to do a FanDuel read real quick, so just bear with me. When the game tips off, NBA action is just getting started. There's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game, so even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to place a bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in on the action, and if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if their first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to join today. That is FanDuel.com/UCSS for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So back to the top 100 real quick. And if you take the preseason rankings first, this was the preseason, not the updated, but Mitchell at 16, Mobley at 46, Allen at 55, Garland at 58. Hunter wasn't on the team.
That's funny. I just noticed Allen was ahead of Garland.
Allen was ahead of
That was
Garland in the
crazy.
preseason rankings, correct. To me, the updated version is a little bit of validation for anyone out there who still doesn't believe the Cavs are getting the national respect they deserve. They may not get the lead story on SportsCenter on any given night, and they may not be the first topic in a sports podcast, but the way the Ringer puts together this list is they have everyone who writes NBA articles for the website submit a top 100. Then they take the consensus and the average of each player and rank them. The first three on that list, Mitchell, Mobley, Garland, that is the highest ranked trio in the entire Ringer top 100. They will never be the headline team in basketball until they win the championship. That still goes to the superstars, the LeBrons, the Lukas, those kind of guys. But I do think the national tide is starting to turn to where the Cavs, for their play on the court, individually and as a team, are starting to get a little more national recognition and appreciation than some people are willing to admit. Because I keep getting a ton of tweets. Why is no one talking about the Cavs? Where's the Cavs coverage? People are taking notice of what Cleveland has done this season, and rankings like this from a national outlet who have the Cavs trio ranked higher than any other trio in basketball, I think point to the changing of the tide in that narrative. G, what do you think about that?
Listen, I think you're spot on. If you watch the games, if you're looking at the games, when you hear guys announce the games, they're saying the Cavs are the best team in the league. When you go look at the halftime shows, when you look at Shaq or Chuck or whoever the case may be, they're saying that the Cavs are one of the best teams, or if not the best team in the league. And I think this dawned on me as he was reading that question. A couple of years ago, we were talking about the way the Denver Nuggets put it together, right? Remember we talked about, hey, they did it in a way where they did it organically, and we need to model what we do after the Nuggets. And then this list comes out in a couple short years, and they have a 2-3-time MVP in Jokic. They had a bunch of guys, younger guys like Murray, Porter. Now all of a sudden you look at the Cavs rankings, and they have them ranked higher than what Denver has brought to the table. This turnaround is crazy, given the fact that just last year we was talking about whether these dudes could play together, the two bigs, whether Darius Garland was ever going to see the All-Star game again. And now you get to this ranking system, and they're higher than teams that we thought we wanted to pattern our rebuild around each other. It's just, to me, Jason, it's like, it's kind of hard to kind of pinch myself, and I'm interested in seeing how they talk about the Cavs during the All-Star break in terms of those new guys, Mobley and all those guys, Allen and all those guys, just getting an opportunity to play.
Yeah, I mean, the Cavs, I think they're ahead of schedule. You know, the players they arrived faster than even the players thought, or the front office thought, or the coaching staff thought. Like, clearly, nobody saw this coming. And I roll my eyes and laugh at the whole national. I mean, the Cavs are very much respected. Believe me, I talk to all the national writers that come through. I covered the league for 10 years. I know all of the people that you're talking about that want, and they all believe the Cavs could win the East, like, without question. But, like, the sports media landscape, I said this before, the landscape has changed so much. Like, what do you want? You want him to talk? You want Stephen A. Smith to talk about you? Is that going to make you feel better?
Right.
If they talk about you on Get Up, like, is that going to make you feel better? Like, what are we talking about here? Like,
I don't understand why with the chip on Clevelanders' shoulders.
It's so tiring.
Where it comes from, I guess I know where it comes from, but the fact that they're not talking about us, okay, who cares?
So what?
Listen, they're not a sexy team.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have a LeBron James.
That's right.
We don't have a Michael Jordan. Like, we've got awesome players.
Right.
A great team that can win. And look, we're in Cleveland. Like,
Yep.
if the Browns were really good, they're probably not talking about the Browns either. It's just kind of is what it is. Accept it and just kick their ass. Just
Yeah.
kick everybody's ass along the way.
Apparently, everybody's just obsessed with ESPN.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's just whatever.
Listen,
ESPN
God love them. I work for them.
Yeah,
They're
right,
great.
right.
They're a great company.
But, like, I don't understand why, if ESPN is talking about you, it's the end all be all. I just don't understand that. And you're right. Like, for as great as Donovan is, he's not a top 5 player in the game.
And by the way, no one on the Cavaliers, no one's ever going to say anything controversial.
Right.
Because they're too smart and they're too good at teammates with high character.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
something else that,
Yeah.
that doesn't sell. Like, being good guys who play really good basketball, like, that doesn't really sell.
ESPN's going to talk about the Cowboys, Jerry Jones, LeBron. They're going to play
love
the hits.
dysfunction. Play the hits.
They're going to play the hit. We all know that. And, I mean, the ESPN talked about the Cavs all the time when LeBron was here, because LeBron was that.
He was the guy.
He was the driver.
Correct.
And without that, like, go back and look at the Nuggets when the Nuggets won, and Mike Malone was so pissed that ESPN was still talking about the Lakers. Well, that's the Cavs are the Nuggets now. Like, that's just the way that it is. And who cares? If you're throwing another parade in June, they'll show it. Like, you'll be there.
You know,